nucleases. These restriction enzymes are majorly divided into two types based on their mode of action. Based on the mode of action, restriction enzymes are divided into two types. They are type A or type 1 restriction enzymes, type B or type 2 restriction enzymes. Based on the pattern of breaking the DNA, how that enzyme is breaking the DNA, based on the pattern of DNA breaking. See here, first of all, see that type 1 restriction enzymes. Type 1 restriction endonucleases are those which are breaking DNA by forming blunt ends or straight ends. These are also called blunt end producing enzymes. These are also called blunt end producing enzymes. What is that blunt end producing enzymes means? Whether it is a type 1 or a type 2, they can act on DNA at a particular sequence called restriction sequence or palindromic sequence. Whether it is a type 1 or a type 2, they can break at palindromic sequence or restriction sequence only. But the mode of breaking, how it is cutting the DNA. Suppose if you take a long DNA molecule, if this DNA molecule has a restriction sequence here, then type 1 restriction enzymes can break that DNA which have blunt ends or even ends, which are also called as straight ends. These are straight ends. Suppose, take an example, there is a nucleotide sequence which has some nucleotides we wrote here. Suppose if an enzyme is belonging to type 1 and if it is breaking that DNA, similarly, simply I am writing here C T A G G C T A G G, like that, a sequence I wrote. When type 1 restriction enzyme is breaking the DNA molecule, G A T C C G A T T C C 3 prime, then 3 prime C T A G G C T A G G. See here, there is formation of two fragments. These two fragments, they are evenly cut. Wherever the breakage of phosphodiester bond takes place in first strand of a double stranded molecule, in second strand also at the same place there is a breakage of phosphodiester bond. Due to that type of breakage of phosphodiester bonds, the two fragments what are formed, they have even ends or blunt ends or straight ends. Here usually when we construct rDNA where two DNA pieces are cut and they are joined, this type of ends are not easy to join. They cannot join easily. So for that easy joining, we can use another type of restriction enzymes which are called as type 2 restriction enzymes. Okay, what are these type 2 restriction enzymes? These are called as sticky end producing enzymes, which are also called as staggered cutting enzymes. Sticky ends are staggered cuts. What is this sticky cuts? If you take a DNA molecule where a long polynucleotide chain is there, when it breaks a polynucleotide chain into fragments by breaking the phosphodiester bonds majorly, so the two fragments are forming, that two fragments have single stranded extensions. Like this, one fragment is made, another fragment is made like this. So due to these fragments, how these are cut actually? From already existing double stranded DNA, these fragments are made. That means this is single stranded extension, this is single stranded extension. What are they? They have complementary nucleotides. Similar ends are present. As they have similar ends because they are cut from palindromic sequence, they can be joined easily. Take an example, as we discussed already, there is enzyme which is containing GAA-TTC. What is that enzyme with the GAA-TTC restriction sequence? ECO R1. If you take ECO R1 restriction sequence, GAA-TTC, CTT-AAG in opposite strand, this is GAA-TTC. That GAA-TTC can break DNA at GAA-TTC, I mean ECO R1 can break it here. Within that, between guanine and adenine, phosphodiester bonds are broken. As phosphodiester bonds are breaking between guanine and adenine, now CCG is one fragment, GG, CTTAA, because G and A are cut here. So this fragment one is possible. Another one, AATTCGG, CCG. Which one? That is only I am saying. These type 2 restriction enzymes, they can cut at a restriction site, so that can produce this one. What sticky ends? That's what I am saying. I mean, before writing, I told you I am writing a rough sequence. I will give some examples. 5 type 1 restriction enzyme and around 6 types. How many restriction sequences are present in PBR 322? 8 restriction sequences are there. That 8 different restriction sequences I will give, no problem. What I told you before writing, I am drawing a rough sequence. That is not a particular palindromic. Is that palindromic in nature? No palindromic sequence I wrote there. Okay, right. See here, this is one fragment. This is one fragment. This fragment has a TTAA towards the terminal. This fragment also has same TTAA towards terminal. As the TTAA, they are present towards the terminal. This terminal can combine with this. This terminal can combine with this. So that A, T, A, T, T, A, T, A. So that restriction fragments are containing two fragments are made which have same ends. As identical ends are same ends are made, that ends can be joined very easily. So which enzymes are helpful in this recombinant DNA technology? Means type 1 restriction enzymes are not useful, type 2 restriction enzymes are useful, because whenever we constructing an rDNA molecule, 2 DNA molecules we have to cut and we have to ligate. That ligation is carried by DNA ligase. DNA ligase is only active on this single stranded fragments. It can join or ligate the fragments. So whenever these fragments are there, then only they can be joined by hydrogen bonds, and same time phosphodiester bonds are also formed between this G and A, and this A and G by DNA ligase, so that they can join. This type of fragments joining is not easy. Okay, why these are joined very easily? There are single stranded fragments. That single stranded fragments have complementary nucleotide sequences. When complementary nucleotide sequences are there, by decreasing the temperature, that complementary nucleotides can be joined. So when we increase the temperature, what happened to DNA? DNA will separate into 2 different fragments with the help of breaking the hydrogen bonds. That break is also depending on the hydrogen bonds like AT pairs and GC pairs. A DNA which has more AT pairs means that has less melting temperature. TM is more. Less heat is sufficient to break the DNA which has more AT pairs. If more GC pairs are present in DNA, it needs more temperature to break that triple bonds when compared to the DNA with more ATPs. Yes or no? So we can separate the DNA fragments by increasing the temperature, and that fragments which have complementary sequences, they can be joined again by decreasing the temperature. And by decreasing the temperature, these can join, and DNA ligase can seal the gap between G and A and this A and G. So that type 2 restriction enzymes are more useful. Okay, one important point we have to remember here. See, when we are using restriction enzymes to prepare rDNA, what is rDNA usually? Recombinant DNA. How it is made? Recombinant DNA is made by introducing a part of DNA or gene into vector, whatever it is, plasmid or cosmid or phasmid. So if a fragment of gene is introduced into a vector, then it is called recombinant DNA. So for that, what we have to do? We have to open the plasmid into these complementary single stranded sequence. Yes or no? Right. This is the plasmid. When we open the plasmid, this plasmid must has complementary single stranded sequences. So this is the complementary single stranded sequence on one strand. Another strand, opposite strand, has a complementary sequence opposite side. Similarly, the DNA also we are cutting. When we cut a DNA like this, there is formation of a fragment of DNA which has a complementary single stranded sequence. Yes or no? So when this DNA has a single stranded sequence and when this DNA has a single stranded sequence, both are there, then only they can join. So we can combine them by the action of DNA ligase and prepare rDNA. Yes or no? Yeah. See now. So plasmid is cut, which is providing that single stranded sequences. DNA is also cut, which is providing single stranded sequences. Then only they can be joined ligated. That ligation is based on what? Restriction enzymes. Restriction sites. Both are correct answers only. So based on the use of restriction enzymes, they can join or they cannot join. Same restriction enzymes we need to use. Because suppose for cutting this, if we are using EcoR1, EcoR1 is used means then this fragment has a TTAA sequence. Yes or no? This fragment also has TTAA. This fragment has TTAA, sorry. TTAA. This fragment also has TTAA. So when we use the same enzyme to cut vector and desired gene, then only the vector ends and DNA gene ends contain same fragments or same sequences in that sticky ends. Sticky ends will have same restriction sequence or same single stranded sequences when we use same enzyme to cut the vector and the DNA. Then only they can join. T can join with A here, T can join with A here, AT, AT. This will combine here and this fragment will combine here. So that in middle of the vector, this desired gene will join. So that is possible when we use the same enzymes. If we use different enzymes, this has some different sequence and these two fragments have different sequence. When we use different enzymes, different sequences are produced. Different sequences are produced means they are not complementary and they cannot join. So for the activity of DNA ligase, the vector DNA and the desired gene both should cut with same restriction enzyme. Then only they can produce the fragments, complementary fragments with the same sequences of nucleotides that can be ligated by DNA ligase enzyme. Otherwise, there is no joining of the fragments. Okay, that is an important point. Now, I will write the list of enzymes which are type 1 and type 2 restriction enzymes and their breaking pattern. You just copy that. All the enzymes which are present in PBR322 sequences, they are important. So PBR322 has 8 restriction sequences. Eco R1. Did I write or did I dictate? Can I dictate? Better right now? Can I write? See, enzyme. Make into some columns. This problem. I can't move the stand more. It may fall down. No, my phone is first important to me. Yes or no? Yeah. Enzyme. Then source. This is the type 2. First what we are writing. All list of type 2 restriction enzymes we are writing first. Source, restriction sequence, and what? Breaking pattern. Breaking pattern. Yeah. Suppose if we take first enzyme, Eco R1, that is isolated. What is the source of this enzyme? Escherichia coli R strain. R strain of Escherichia coli. Restriction sequence is GAA-TTC. GAA-TTC. Breaking is like this. So, what are the fragments formed here means? This is one fragment. AATTCG. This is another fragment. Two fragments are made like this with the action of Eco R1. Then BAM H1. BAM H1. BAM means Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. Its restriction sequence is GGA-TCC. G C T C T A G plus GATCG C. That is the pattern of breakage where the bond is broken down between this. Then third one, HIND3. Already we discussed about HIND2. What is HIND2? First identified restriction enzyme. Okay, that is the type 1. HIND2 is type 1. HIND3 is type 2. What is this here? HIND stands for Haemophilus influenzae. Haemophilus influenza, AAG CTT. AAG CTT. Bond is broken down between A and A, so that the fragments formed are TT, TTCGA. Another one AGCTT. Two fragments are formed like this. Fourth one, PVU1. PVU stands for Proteus vulgaris. Proteus vulgaris. CGATCG. CGAT CG. Bond is broken down between T and C. GCTA GC. CGA TCG. Yeah, both in. If bond is broken down here, CGAT CG, it will form separately here. GC plus GC another one, CGAT another fragment. Then sixth one, PST. PST1. PST stands for Providencia Stuarti. Providencia Stuarti. CTG. CTG. CTG means GCTACG. CTG CAG. Huh? 1 second. I am visible to all. I am visible only, no? Then who is saying I am hiding? You are hiding something, sir. That you have to say. SAL1. Streptomyces albus. Between G and T. G and T means G is 1, T is C. Ovia. Ovia. Who is talking? Which Aishwarya? Aishwarya Lakshmi va? CLA1. Caryophynon latum. ATC GAT. ATC GAT. Salem girls will not talk at all. They are very silent. They are only listening the class. They are listening the class. They are giving answer very fastly. Whatever I ask. They are not talking like you. Fourth one, PVU. Proteus vulgaris. VUL. Streptomyces albus. Sorry. Streptomyces albus. Complete? That's why sit in first bench. She completed already. Zumana, not visible. Come here. Give her way. Give her space. She will come here. There or here. You know, you are struggling to see the board. Come here. This one. This one. Sit there. Now you can write fast. Complete, huh? Yeah, whoever talking, for them I will give some questions. Come first bench. First send your sister here. She is also struggling to watch the board. But smart work is better than hard work. Biggest boss. Biggest boss. Why? Why you got that doubt? Okay, complete. Listen now. Santini, once please stand. If a restriction enzyme has a palindromic sequence, first three nucleotides are A, G, T. What are next three nucleotides of the palindromic sequence? I am asking Shantini. First three nucleotide sequence of a restriction sequence is AGT. Next three nucleotides, how to write? Very simple. If there are three nucleotides, total nucleotides, how many I told you? 6. First nucleotide is always complementary to the sixth one. Second one is complementary to the fifth one. Third one and fourth one will be complementary. Otherwise, AGT, I wrote here. AGT, I wrote here means opposite sequence also you can write. AGT. This is first three nucleotides in one strand. Opposite strand, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to find. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So 1, 2, 3 here, AGT. 1, 2, 3 here, AGT. Now T complementary A, G complementary C, A complementary T. For 2 it will be like 5 and for 1 it will be like 6. Yes. 1 is complementary to 6. 2 is complementary to 5. 3 is complementary to 4. That's what I am saying. Usually, how many number of nucleotides are 4 to 6 nucleotides are commonly present. Okay. Okay. If 4 to 6 nucleotides are there, when a restriction enzyme breaks the DNA into fragments like this, how many nucleotides are usually present in the fragments of single stranded extensions of DNA? One second. One second. What is the question is, 4 to 6 nucleotides are present in a DNA restriction sequence. When it is cut with restriction enzymes, how many nucleotides are generally present in single stranded fragments cut by the enzyme? 4. Every time 4 only there? 2 or 4 majorly. 2 or 4 or 2 to 4 we can say. So because see here, total 6 nucleotide sequence is there. When it is cut here, there is formation of 4 nucleotides in the fragment. This has 4 nucleotides. This has 2. This has 2. Here 4 are there. Here 2 are there. Okay. So based on the nucleotide sequence, it is cutting. Usually that single stranded fragments which have complementary sequence fragments are there now, which are present at ends. They are usually 2 or 4 generally. Okay. And one more thing, what I told you, we have to use same enzyme to break the vector and the DNA both. So how we can cut this by using type 2 means, if a DNA is there, a DNA has some sequence. Suppose here one restriction sequence is there means, here that restriction pattern is followed to break the DNA here. Here one more restriction sequence is there means, here also. So here by restrictions pattern there is formation of single stranded extension. Opposite strand has single stranded extension opposite side generally. Do you understand what I am saying? Here when we cut, there is the DNA is cut here. Here one restriction sequence is there. Here one restriction sequence is there. Here it is making this restriction fragments. That restriction length is there now, what? Single stranded length. Here if we take 2 strands, here we cut, here we cut. The middle DNA we are taking. This one strand usually has a single stranded extension on one side. Suppose what is that? TTAA. TTAA is present on one side means opposite strand has sequence, opposite strand has on opposite side. Understand? So that only can be inserted into the vector because vector can be opened. So when vector is opening, what happened? This is a vector. Just now I shown you. When vector is opened, there is formation of single stranded sequences like this. This has one restriction fragment. What is this one? Opposite strand has opposite fragment. Now this fragment can combine with this forming base pairs, and this fragment can combine with this fragment forming base pairs, so they can be joined. So what I am saying is, when we use restriction enzyme to break the DNA, if DNA has multiple restriction sequences for same enzyme, we are using EcoR1 to break that. When we use EcoR1 and cut the DNA in that DNA, how many GAA TTC sequences are there? Everywhere there will be cut in the DNA. Number of restriction sequences gives number of fragments. One DNA is there. If one DNA has one restriction sequence means, then there is formation of 2 fragments. 2 restriction sequences are present in DNA means, then 3 fragments will be formed. Understand? Yes. I asked the question, how many nucleotides are present in single stranded extension? I asked the nucleotides present in single strand extension. Question clearly I asked. Yeah. Whatever the number of nucleotides in the sequence, same sequence, that is same. Okay. How many, I mean, cos sites, complementary single stranded sequences has how many nucleotides means then that answer. This is a type 2 restriction enzymes. Type 1 restriction enzymes. Usually in EcoR1, I mean, sorry, EcoR, not EcoR1. In PBR322, there are 8 different restriction sequences which can be broken by 8 different enzymes. Among them, 7 we wrote. One more is there, 8th one, that is actually type 1. 8 restriction sequences are present in PBR322 vector. That 8th one is type 1 restriction enzyme. See that one, PVU2. PVU already we wrote. What is that? PVU is a bacteria which is a Proteus vulgaris. That Proteus vulgaris has a restriction sequence CAG, first 3 nucleotides. Yeah, next 3 nucleotides is CTG. Yeah, GTC, GAC. Here, this is type 1, I told you. Bond breakage is between G and C. CAG. So bond is broken down like this, means CAG. This is one fragment. Another fragment is forming like this. CAG. Yes. 2 fragments are possible, but the 2 fragments have blunt ends or even ends. Even cuts are present on that. Then alu, not alu. Orthobacter luteus. Orthobacter luteus is an enzyme which has a restriction sequence AGCT. Breaking is between G and C. So AG is one fragment with a TC opposite side. CT, AG. 2 fragments are made like this. Alu. Then HIND2. We already discovered, right? Discovered, first discovered. HIND2. Haemophilus influenza. Haemophilus influenzae. This has GTC, GAC. For what? HIND3 is one. GAATTC. 2 sequences are possible, I told you. GTC, GAC, this is one. Yeah, wait 1 second, I will check. GTC, CAG. Wait 1 second. This is one possible. Actually, HIND2 has 2 restriction sequences, what I told you. GT, one pyrimidine, purine, AC. Pyrimidine, purine. Yeah, for you only I am saying answer. GT, then pyrimidine, purine, AC. According to this, GTT means AAC one will come. This purine, this pyrimidine, purine. This is pyrimidine, purine. If we take this one as a pyrimidine as a cytosine, then purine will be G. Yeah, 2 are possible. This is one of the 2. GTT, AAC, GTC, GAC. Both are restriction sequences for HIND2. What, Varshita? Pyrimidine, purine. Purine, pyrimidine, I wrote. No. GTT AAC. GTT AAC means pyrimidine, purine only. Sorry. Pyrimidine, purine. Pyrimidine, purine. Pyrimidine, purine. In reverse, purine, pyrimidine. Pyrimidine, purine. In reverse, here purine will be there, here pyrimidine will be there. Opposite strand. Fourth one. HAE. Haemophilus aegyptius. This has GGGG. CCCC. Bond is broken down like this. So these are straight end producing enzymes or blunt end producing enzymes. Examples. Here type 1 no need to remember. Type 2 enzymes we have to remember because they are given in NCERT, which is PVR 322 plasmid. No, this is GGGG only. Here. This is GG means here CC will come, you are saying. But GC is one palindromic. In reverse also GC is there. Okay. Palindromic means not only on single strand. Base pairs sequence should be palindromic. That is the point what I told you first. The base pairs sequence. See here CG, AT, GC, CG, AT, GC. Reverse also GC, AT, GC, GC, AT, GC. That is palindromic sequence what I told you on first class. Okay, right. This is different types of type 1 restriction enzymes. Note down that. क्या जी, क्या बोला उन्हें? डाउट Orthobacter luteus, LU. ALU1. See here, I think one restriction sequence we repeated 2 times. GTC, GAC is the restriction sequence for Haemophilus influenzae 2. Into 2, right? It also has the same restriction sequence is present there for SAL also. Streptomyces albus. But if we see that 2 enzymes, SAL1 and HIND2 are 2 enzymes, they have same restriction sequence or palindromic sequence. They have same restriction sequence but different restriction sites. Their restriction sites are different. That type of enzymes which have same restriction sequence but different restriction sequences, they are called isoschizomers. Oh yes, isoschizomers are enzymes, a pair of restriction enzymes which have same restriction sequence but different restriction sites. Both are acting on same sequence. But when Hind2 is cutting this GTC, GAC, there is formation of fragments like this with different sequences. Whereas if that SAL1 enzyme is acting or breaking same restriction sequence, there is formation of fragments in different manner. They will produce, they are acting on same sequence, but they are producing fragments in different manner. That type of enzymes are called as isoschizomas. Okay, right, complete. Then can we start vectors? Can I complete? Yeah, better. I already informed the zoology sir. Today I need more time like vectors. What is a vector? These vectors are also called cloning vectors, or which are also called as cloning vehicles. These are responsible to transfer a DNA from one organism to another organism. From one organism to another organism, they can transfer the DNA. So that's why they are used as vectors. Usually these vectors are different types. How many types of vectors are there? 3 types of vectors are there generally. There are 3 types of vectors. One is plasmid, second one is cosmid, which is constructed vectors. Third one is phasemid, which is also called as a phase DNA. If you see plasmid, first one, plasmid, up to characters of plasmids I will tell you. Then that PBR 322 structure we will see next class. So plasmids, what are plasmids? These are small, circular, double-stranded, extra-chromosomal, semi-autonomous, self-replicating DNA molecules, which are usually present in prokaryotic cells or bacterial cells. So these are small in size, they are circular, double-stranded, extra-chromosomal, which are not a part of chromosomes, extra-chromosomal. Then what I told you, self-replicating, semi-autonomous DNA molecules. Semi-autonomous or self-replicating are properties which are due to independent replication due to presence of ORI-C site. These are generally present in bacteria or prokaryote cells only. Vectors are commonly present only in bacterial cells. Okay, but these vectors of phase DNA can also be used. Vectors can be collected from phase, I mean bacterial DNA, which is vector, they are plasmids normally present. From the bacterial DNA, we can construct bacterial artificial chromosomes. They can also be used as vectors. Okay, and some yeast artificial chromosomes can also be used as vectors. But plasmids are usually generally present in bacteria. Usually, the number of plasmid is different from bacteria to bacteria. So, total number of plasmids in bacteria, I mean number of plasmids in bacteria is called copy number. One bacteria has a particular number of plasmid. How many plasmids are present in one bacteria? That is called as copy number. They are self-replicating. They are independently replicating by the sequence which is Ori C site present in the plasmids. Plasmid, generally some plasmids have Ori C sites. What is Ori C site? Origin of replication. If origin of replication is present, then only it can replicate independently. Otherwise, it will depend on DNA or chromosomal DNA for replication. Independent replication of this plasmid is due to this only. Okay. Here, the copy number, usually bacteria to bacteria, it is different. I told you. There may be single plasmid, one copy number, multiple copies numbers, up to 40, 50 also copy number is varying. Some bacteria may have one or two plasmids, single copy number. Single copy of plasmids are present in some bacteria, and some bacteria have more copy number, around 40 to 50. Here, size of plasmid is also very important. Size is important to carry DNA. Here, how size is responsible to carry DNA means, if a plasmid has a small size, then it can carry long DNA. Small plasmids carry more DNA. The DNA what we are transferring one organism to another organism for cloning, that DNA size, more size of DNA can be carried by small vectors. And if it is a big or large vector, large plasmids, if they can carry less DNA. A small amount of DNA can only be carried. Why? Because the recombinant DNA size is important for gene transfer. What is gene transfer? Transformation method, where we are transferring the recombinant DNA into the host cell. Transformation, transduction, conjugation, electroporation, like that some methods are there, where the gene is first introduced into the vector, then that is called what? rDNA. Vector with desired gene is called rDNA. That rDNA is introducing into a host cell with the help of some methods. If we add in cultural medium directly, then it is called as a transformation. Electroporation, gene gun method, some methods are there, we will see later. So, for carrying that rDNA into host cell, if total rDNA size is less, okay, if rDNA size is less, then that transfer is easy. So, suppose up to one target, there is a size of rDNA, suppose 1 million bases, or suppose 1000 bases, or 10,000 bases are there. 10 kilo bases is the target, or the maximum size of rDNA we can transfer. Suppose this vector itself has 9 kilo base size means, then 1 kilo bases of new DNA can be added to this, so the 10 kilo bases is possible. More than 10 kilo bases is not transferring into the host, suppose we are thinking. So if it is maximum size of plasmid is there, then it can carry very small amount of DNA. Suppose this vector has just 1 kb size, then we can add the DNA of 9 kb into the vector, then also we can get 10 kb size of rDNA that can be carried. Okay, so overall size of rDNA is important to transfer into the host. If vector is very more size, addition of more length of DNA will increase the rDNA size greatly. If rDNA size is very more, then that transmission or transfer of genetic material into the host, rDNA into the host, is not possible well. So, if vector size or plasmid size is less, that is very efficient plasmid. So, every plasmid must has 3 characters for good working in recombinant DNA technology. Vector must and should possess 3 characters, but normally all the vectors which are present naturally in bacterial cells, they do not have all the characters. Usually what are the 3 characters means? vector should possess these three characters. One is ORIC site. Second one is gene marker. What is gene marker? Actually, we are using antibiotic resistant genes. Then restriction sequences or restriction sites, which are also called cloning sites or cloning sequences. That three properties are very important for a vector. If we see natural vectors, what are present in bacteria, the natural vectors may not have all the three properties. Natural vectors do not have all the three properties. Natural plasmid, which is original plasmid extracted or isolated from the bacteria, that may not contain all the three properties. So what we can do here is, artificial plasmids are constructed by introducing all these three properties into a vector or plasmid. PBr322 is there, that is a constructed plasmid. PBr322 is a constructed plasmid which is constructed by P plasmid, B Bolivar, Broadridge. 322 is its identification number. So it is a constructed plasmid. So here three properties are introduced and new plasmids are constructed with all these properties. That is very important. See what is one by one. ORIC site. What is the importance of ORIC site? Origin of replication, that is responsible for independent replication, so that it can form clones of rDNA that can control replication or autonomous, semi-autonomous replication or independent replication of the plasmid in the host cell. We construct rDNA by introducing a gene into the plasmid. A plasmid has ORIC site here, suppose. Here into that plasmid, one desired gene was introduced and it was taken into a host cell. Host cell has its own genome. Okay. And this plasmid has one desired gene. Once we transfer that desired gene in along with vector into host cell, this desired gene has to undergo replication to produce many copies. If this desired gene, what we introduced into a host cell, if it is undergoing replication and formation of more copies, then only its character can be expressed. Suppose this is insulin gene. Insulin gene was introduced into E. coli cell. If this insulin gene, now insulin gene is available inside the E. coli. If that insulin gene is not undergoing replication, no use. A single copy of insulin will be there. With one single copy, it can produce only one copy of insulin. No use. So, as this has ORIC sites, this can produce multiple copies of rDNA. Plasmid is replicating. As plasmid is replicating, it can replicate into multiple copies. While it is undergoing replication, that can replicate this part of this plasmid also. Because that desired gene is the part of a plasmid now. Desired gene was inserted in middle of the plasmid. So this is also a part of the plasmid. So this plasmid is replicating so that that desired gene will also get replicated and there is production of the clones for this desired gene. That clones will produce more number of DNA. That DNA can undergo and produce a gene product, that what we can take. Okay, for cloning that is required. Second one is what? Usually genetic marker. What is genetic marker? Usually when we construct rDNA, this rDNA was transferred into a medium where number of bacteria are growing. In this number of bacteria, some bacterial cells taken this rDNA. rDNA was taken by some bacteria and some bacteria did not take rDNA. This have no rDNA. This bacteria are called what? Non-transformants. These are called transformants. In this transformants, there is again recombinants, non-recombinants. What are recombinants and non-recombinants? What are you playing? What are recombinants, non-recombinants? Recombinant means, suppose when we are constructing plasmid into this rDNA, some plasmids got desired gene and made into rDNA. Some plasmids may not take the desired gene. Only plasmid is there. Some plasmids got that DNA and made into rDNA. So if this plasmid is present in bacterial cell, or plasmid entered this bacteria, so it is a transformant. This cell got this rDNA where vector with the desired gene both are entering into the bacteria. This is also transformant, this is also transformant because both got plasmid. But here desired gene is present. Here no desired gene. Transformants with only plasmid, no desired gene, that is called as non-recombinants. Transformants which took vector and desired gene both, they are called recombinants. Usually transformants can be removed from non-transformants. So elimination of non-transformants and selection of transformants is done by genetic markers. That genetic markers what we are using is actually antibiotic resistant genes like ampicillin resistant gene, tetracycline resistant gene, even kanamycin resistant gene, streptomycin resistant genes. Like that, different genes are possible. What is the activity of this resistant gene? Suppose if a plasmid has ampicillin resistance, ampicillin resistant means in presence of ampicillin also that bacteria can live. So these are two transformants which took the plasmid. As they took the plasmid, they have ampicillin resistant gene, so that some proteins are produced from this gene and they have resistance against ampicillin. What about non-transformants? They do not have plasmid, there is no ampicillin resistant gene. So after transferring this rDNA or desired genes into host in a medium, if we add a particular antibiotic, if we use ampicillin into the medium, these cells do not have plasmid, so they will die. So what are that? Non-transformants. Non-transformants can die now, they will die, and transformants will be alive because they have plasmids. So that transformants we can take. In that transformants again, recombinants are there, non-recombinants are there. That recombinant, non-recombinant selection is what? By insertional inactivation, beta-galactosidase activity. I mean blue-white colonies screening. Yeah, beta-galactosidase. That we'll see later when we go to that. After gene transfer method, I will explain that process. So actually genetic markers are used to separate non-transformants from the transformants. Then third one is cloning sites. Cloning site. What is a cloning site? Cloning site is nothing but a restriction sequence which is present in a vector. If a vector has a restriction sequence, then it is more useful. Why? We can use that enzyme. A restriction sequence means which can be broken by the restriction enzyme, and we can break that DNA and we can introduce a new DNA. Yes or no? But two important points we have to remember here. What are the 2 points means? if we take a plasmid or vector, this vector, if it has more than one types of restriction sequences, that is advantageous. More than one types of restriction sequences. I mean multiple restriction sequences for different enzymes. Understand? Multiple sequences for different enzymes means that is useful. More restriction enzymes for same DNA sequence means, same enzyme sequence means, that is a disadvantage. Why? Because suppose PBR322 has 8 restriction sequences. Suppose we are taking a desired gene. Suppose I wish to cut this plasmid with ECO R1 so that it can open. As we discussed already, when we cut a plasmid with one enzyme, DNA should also cut with same enzyme. If that ECO R1 restriction sequence is not present in this gene, what can I do? No use. That is not possible. No, recombination is not, even cutting also not possible in the DNA by that enzyme. Okay. So suppose if it has any other sequence like a PVU or something, if this gene has this sequence, so I can use that enzyme and cut the restriction, I mean gene into restriction fragments. But if this sequence is not present on the vector, we cannot insert. Suppose PBR322 has 8 restriction sequences, right? So as it has 8 restriction sequences, 8 different types of DNAs can be inserted into the middle of the PBR322 plasmid. Understand? 8 different types of enzymes we can use to break the DNA plasmid. This plasmid can be broken with 8 different enzymes. So that 8 different DNAs with 8 different sequences. Suppose ECO R1 is here. If this DNA has ECO R1, this ECO R1 is present in this DNA, this same plasmid can be used. If this one has PVU1, same plasmid is useful because that has same sequence. If it has a SAL, same vector. So more number of restriction sequences for different enzymes means that is preferable. If same restriction sequence is present repeatedly, that is not advantageous. Why? Yeah, that can cut into pieces. Suppose if you take a vector, this vector has here one ECO R1 sequence, here another ECO R1 sequence. 2 ECO R1 sequences are present. Suppose if we use ECO R1 enzyme to break this plasmid, here one cut, here one cut. So this is one DNA forming, this fragment is another DNA forming. If what we are transferring the gene, that gene is inserted with this means, this part of plasmid is losing. If it has antibiotic resistance here, then this part is combining with what? Our DNA, then antibiotic resistance will be lost. So the part of plasmid will be lost when multiple sequences are present for single enzyme. Different restriction sequences for different enzymes is preferable in a plasmid. Okay. Whereas more number of same sequences for single enzyme is not preferable. Okay. Yeah.
To produce more number of whatever if we require insulin, I'm saying that this plasmid is being cut into 2 parts, right? And one plasmid will be there and another one will be later. This plasmid will be smaller in size. Then it will replicate.
That's what I said. After you are raising your hand, I told you a point. This part of DNA has any useful sequences. Suppose here OREC site is there. We cut with restriction enzyme. This part has OREC site sequence, suppose. Now this part of DNA added with desired gene. ORC site is lost.
Anyhow, we are going to cut a DNA.
Ah.
Will we have more DNA?
Ah.
Be capable of getting connected to two plasmids. So anyhow, both of the plasmids are going to be active.
Here, that's what I'm saying. Suppose here this is DNA. That your first point only I explained. So this is one fragment is forming. This is another fragment forming. Your doubt. If this fragment, there is a chance of joining this again. Okay. If what we are cutting the DNA, some DNA we cut now, that DNA also has the same fragments, right? If this is combining with this only, leaving this.
How come it's possible?
How come it possible means by joining by chance? What can nothing? I mean, anything can happen. Nothing is impossible in this.
Like 50% DNA is working and 50% is not working.
No, 50%, 100% working. Why? This fragment is combining with this. This is combining with this. Both sides it is joining. This is one end, this is one end. Two ends. This is complementary to this. 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 Any chance can happen. That's what I'm saying. Here. Here.
In that segment, less number of people enter that so that we can have more genes can be accommodated.
What I am saying is just leave your doubts. You sit first. Both of you sit first. Leave your doubt first. First think what I am saying, then you will get answer. When I am explaining, you are thinking about your doubt only. What is I am saying? When same restriction sequence is present for several times, there is the formation of different fragments for the plasmid. Okay. So suppose this is one fragment, this is one fragment, two fragments are possible. If both fragments are joining along with this DNA, no problem, as you said. Okay. But if this is not joining with this is a plasmid. When this plasmid has a sequence, one is cut here, another one is cut here. Half part, half part. Desired gene also, what a linear DNA we took, that linear DNA also has this one. Okay. If it is introduced in middle, here, if these are joined again, no problem. But that is less chance. What in this case ligase will do here, this can be joined with this. If it is combining with this is vector DNA and desired DNA. So this is also rDNA is formed. rDNA is possible. But this part of vector is not in this rDNA. Yes or no? In that case, if any useful ORC site or gene marker or anything is present in this part, means rDNA will be missing this. Okay, that is one case. This remaining half of the vector, if it is combining with this, now also there is a possibility of rDNA like this. If it is formed like this, the remaining 50% of vector is missing or losing, means any characters, if they are present in this part, they may be losing here. This rDNA do not have that character. Yes or no? By chance, what you said, if this part of vector and this part of vector, they are joining, and in middle if linear DNA is introducing, then complete rDNA with the complete vector is possible. That's what you are asking.
Because of the small size, they replicate
Yeah,
faster.
multi-faster. But for multiplication, there is OREC site. OREC site is lost. That's what I am saying. OREC site is lost. But you are thinking your doubt, you are asking your doubt. Yes or no? Suppose even OREC site is present here. OREC site is present this side, and this part is lost. OREC site is means it is replicating. Okay, no problem. But this part has gene marker. Gene marker is lost here. That means we cannot identify transformant. A part of plasmid is lost means some characters is lost that are useful character. Okay, this is some basics about that vectors. We'll continue in next class. I mean plasmid PBR 322 structure and which one more vector host cells will complete tomorrow. So what I announced for WPT, that portion will be there for WPT on Sunday. Huh? Already I announced and not displayed. Tools of or recombinant DNA technology, fundamentals of biotechnology, this restriction enzymes, mechanism, types of restriction enzymes, vectors, host, DNA ligase, DNA polymerase. DNA ligase polymerase, briefly I will repeat. Okay? Yeah, thank you.